again, it's all semantics, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just jump into the server and actually see what we have in terms of winner semifinals action. It's ASMR versus Morning Light for a spot in winners finals.
Again, I want to hedge my bets on Morning Light here. I don't know, they look so good. Odorous is just such a nuts player, and apparently all the players are named Suede. I don't think that's exactly true.
Right? That's been a thing.
Huh?
Why is
it's
it
all
Suede?
Suede? Always has been,
yeah,
baby.
No, always has been. Always has been. Jeez,
but
man.
One
and
of
I
the
mean,
players
okay,
who are
I mean,
not
we already
named
have our
Suede
take.
Odorous.
Odorous, what? He just jumps on in, makes it look so easy. Still gets the frag anyways, and there's already the plant. Again, a huge rotation already. You have Weak and Harmful trying to take things back. Morning Light on the outskirts. Conti, the last one remaining, he's right behind a smoke. He can't exactly do anything. The defuse is going to come down for ASMR, and that's going to be a W early on for ASMR, no matter how insane that early kill was for Odorous.
Yeah, that's just the glory of a quick play, really. ASMR, just right at the beginning, took all hookah control. There's not a lot of things that the defense can do if they're on a pistol. Pretty much the only options that they have, which we aren't actually going to see come into fruition here. That would have been a perfect example, but a lot of times you'll see teams stack up 2 players over towards hookah early on and have a crossfire set up. Since that wasn't in effect, ASMR, they basically took it free of charge and just executed out from there. So, I mean, Upmind, that's a good start for ASMR, and in a BO1, every round matters.
Absolutely. Now here we go. It's a good Cypher setup. We're going to halt the hold just a little bit. Still a couple of players over towards the back lines, and Morning Light, they don't exactly have the luxury of making that full rotate of how much equipment they've already used early on. And Fox in the front lines, he was quite the all-star in the first set that we saw him in, and he just continues his streak of dominance. Big early frag, and now turns the corner, takes down Odorous. Yet another frag for him. That's going to be 2 for him on the round. And ASMR, they clean things up as Morning Light, they get halted over to short.
Yeah, I feel like this is something that's just always going to be a recurring trend. On those second rounds, if you're on the losing side, you don't have too many options, you know? We saw a miracle earlier on from Morning Light when they're on Ascent. They were able to pull off some shenanigans with the shotties. But that's mostly what eco rounds will be looking like. Just kind of hedging your bets, hoping that you can get the bomb down somewhere, or the spike again. Got to make sure you have the correct terminology there. But if you don't meet those requirements, they're not expending any utility, and you're just making yourself kind of free food against the Spectres or whatever else the defenders have on board. So into this third one, things can get a little bit more interesting. You see that there's actually a Bucky bot up, still some Spectres in play. And also Morning Light, they'll be more at the ready here. They'll have Phantoms.
There's overall rifles at this point, and I think Morning Light's pulling something that we really haven't seen in a while. I mean, it really, in that Ascent map, we haven't seen defaults really at all. I mean, we saw maybe 1 or 2 default rounds, but this setup here from Morning Light, they did wait a little bit for a couple of frags over to mid, but they realized that the timing isn't right. You do have the orbital strike over towards short. It does take down 1 person. Again, a little bit earlier on, the recon drone from Makalov missing. Still frags going back towards the site. Now Miniature trying to hold down Joseph, but with the Spectre, he ends up getting the swing anyways. Conti down to 17 HP. He's behind the smoke, but that's the shock dart doing all the damage. A 3-on-3 setup. Huge defuse coming in. Odor is still getting the frag, but he can't get the player on the defuse. If I'm not mistaken, that's gonna be it. But Makalov still gets him. Harmful on the front lines with a shotgun. Or are you kidding me? Harmful in the front lines, training back all of his teammates. And man, oh man, a Morning Light. I mean, a good hold nonetheless. Still able to take down 2 of the spike diffusers, but it's the shotguns, believe it or not, again, making their impact here on the server.
Morning Light were looking so good as well. The big thing I think to point out there is how they kept those sage walls for that post plant. There was a decent amount of time where those sage walls were used on the execute to block off that kind of APC angle over towards A, make it so you can get a safe plant. Now you're starting to see the meta shift to using them later on in the round. Morning Light, it was a great execute, but ASMR, it's just that their post plant was pristine and they pretty much played the only way you could with that Bucky. Again, as soon as that wall went up, he was just in there. He was in there deep with the Bucky, and not really much you can do against that sort of gun, despite all the best heroics of the side of a Morning Light rather, to stop the plant, to stop the defuse. It's not going to be enough against the Bucky and its reign of terror. Here comes another execute, however, and Upmind. Hopefully this one will be a little bit cleaner for Morning Light.
Now, hopefully it will be, because again, ASMR, they still have almost exactly the same setup that they have just a couple of rounds ago. Good crossfires, but it's not exactly all that effective for opening frags. But it's going to be Morning Light overextending over throughout the rest of the site, but harmful, popping off with the Hunter's Fury. Still able to take down another one. Huge shock dart, not going to be able to collect on the other one. And the operator shot taking down Miniature. Still one more player on site. And shot up, he gets shot down. 3 players surviving for ASMR. And that's a 4th round in a row. Again, Morning Light didn't have much to work with in that round period. It was still an eco, and they're going to be able to set themselves up a lot better in this one. But just the fact that Morning Light, they make their way onto these sites, and ASMR, they're able to retake them with such ease. It's really quite the statement here from this ASMR side.
Now, one thing I want to note as well is we're about to see something really interesting pop up. If you take a gander at the ultimate bars, you see that 2 players are on 6 out of 7. There's a lot of 5 out of 7. That fight for the ult orb actually might be pretty important, and a lot of times it's one of those things that aren't really, it's not really talked about, that fight for the ult orb, but it can kind of make all the difference, especially when you're seeing some big name ultimates start coming into play. You know, you have that showstopper from Fox, actually not quite prepped just yet. I'm surprised he's not trying to go for the ult orb or anything. That can actually be just such a big game changer. But, you know, we might see a pretty chaotic round come to fruition relatively soon, Upmind. And Morning Light, well, you have to hope that they're going to be at the ready for it, because they'll have a decent amount of ultimates to work with at their own, or on their own as well. There's one going to be expended right off the bat to run it back, plus the player in right behind it. Despite the flash coming through, there's no gun right behind it until Shot Up actually will decide to, just a little bit late. Still does get the kill, and Conti will as well. There is a spike planted in a... It's kind of weird timing on that execute, but it gets the job done. Morning Light are looking good to take, finally, a first round.
Potentially so, but you still have Harmful trying to make his way on, but ends up trying to throw out a bullet through the smoke. Gets punished by Odorous, and he's still making his way around, and that's a weird particle effect, to say the very least, but that's a big camera. Miniature does find one, but there's still a player around the corner. He takes down Joseph, and Conti is there to snag the last frag onto Weak. Right you are. Morning Light, they snag themselves around, and a clean one at that. It was relatively easy for them again to make their way onto that site, but they ended up stopping the retake. That was really the one puzzle piece that they were missing from this entire scheme of ASMR.
Yeah, and again, a bit of a weird pace from Morning Light as I actually made that execute happen. It kind of messed with my internal timing as well. As soon as Shot Up popped that ultimate, I was expecting him to go right behind with that flashbang, but he like delayed just a little while longer. You start to see kind of a double back. I'm like, wait, is the Phoenix actually going to be coming out of bathrooms? And well, the answer was a resounding yes, and Conti will be there to go ahead and make things even sweeter of a deal for Morning Light, and they finally get the first, and again, in that clean fashion as well. But ASMR, they still have a horse in this race. Sure, their money is also looking good, but their ultimate economy is looking absolutely wonderful. Only one that they don't have, and it's that Hunter's Fury, which, I'll be honest, at some points it kind of feels negligible. You still have that showstopper. That's the one I'm really terrified of because of some of the earlier antics we saw. And hey, now Harmful won't even have a chance to start building up that ultimate, considering he just got taken down by Shot Up, excuse me.
Okay, but even then, he's still
maybe he can
able
go
to
back
get revived. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. They could still build up that momentum all they want. And now here we go again. It's going to be Weak, who just revived his teammate, taking down Shot Up. Conti on the front lines. That's going to be a huge orbital strike right around the corner. Oh, but the satchel from Fox takes him down. And that's a huge hold from ASMR. The catalyst being that revive at the very beginning. A huge hold from ASMR. Again, switching up that tempo. ASMR, they've been playing almost the full retake game this entire match. this entire half thus far. Now they leave Odorous down on a 1-on-4, and he has to run away. Time's ticking. And Morning Light, they lose quite the disheartening round.
That really sucks too. I mean, they just kind of struggled to really get anywhere. You know, they struggled to actually get that ignition to roll over, and they just kind of rolled over and died. Despite finding that first kill as well onto Harmful, I'm surprised they didn't just try to immediately burst off of that, but there's still utility to be expended, and, you know, quite honestly, I'm surprised that worked out so swimmingly for ASMR. Those rotates were bought in very quickly. There's that 1-2 play from, who's offing last round? I think it was, I want to say it's Harmful, and then Fox right behind it with that satchel. I mean, really the op shot who fired it doesn't matter. It was just Fox being able to actually capitalize upon that damage. That was huge. Morning Light, again, they struggled to actually get anywhere from the get-go, and now a much slower play, working for small parts of map control, will be the name of the game this time around. 2 ults expended from ASMR means that they still have a couple of more to work with, including that neural theft as well, which could be big if ASMR can continue to find early frags like they have oh so many times.
Like you said, it's still on deck for really both of these teams, but they don't have any dead bodies to actually look at. ASMR, they might have a pile of them in just a couple of seconds as now Morning Light making their way through. There's a huge flash, though. Harmful gets caught off, and that's shot up on the front lines. Again, they still have that Cypher over in the back lines, and okay, Turnip does get the kill anyways, but Odorous immediately picking up his teammate. Now it's going to be a 3-on-5. Everyone at full strength. Again, the defenders slowly making their way back on. U-Haul control is going to be taken, but all of this focus is going to have to be over to short. All depends on what kind of equipment can actually be used. Fox around the corner. Miniature gets 2 big frags, but in comes Fox. Catches down 2. Catches down a 3rd. But Fox, it's futile. Ends up being taken down by Conti in the end. So a good hold there again from Morning Light after the retake, but again, it's not going to be the catalyst. One player is not going to be the catalyst for everyone's success. ASMR, at this point, their A-hold might have to be a little bit restructured.
I think they have a lot of good ideas on what they want to do. I feel Turnup in particular, having that tripwire set up over towards APC. He managed to get a kill off of it onto Shot Up, but that res was just so impactful. And, well, because of that, almost single-handedly, Morning Light were able to be rewarded with a lot of map control. I don't feel like this has to be the big change that the ASMR need. I still feel like they're on a pretty good formula at the moment. They're keeping a player over towards B a bit earlier on. That's Sage. And actually, they might be going to retake hookah control here. You see Harmful is kind of committed to the idea. Meanwhile, Morning Light, they haven't even broached the topic just yet. Oh, that dart. Yeah, Harmful realizes he can't stay there for long, or else he's going to be completely caught out. Ice walls through. Morning Light now are being forced to take that one down, but keep an eye on the bomb. On the minimap, it's not committed towards either location just yet. 4 players situated out towards B for ASMR. I mean, really, this round is still favorably in the hands for either team. Despite ASMR making those early rotations, they've expended a lot of utility, and they don't really have much to show for it.
Not much at all. So much time being wasted. Now 30 seconds left into the round. Oh, that 100 Fury ends up catching 1, however. And that's going to lead to the full rotation for the defenders. And Joseph popping off. That's going to be 3 for him. Finally traded out by Shot Up, but you still have Harmful in the back lines. One more player laying around sight. Odorous still takes down Fox. But if I'm not mistaken, again, there's still 1 on site. That's going to be weak. Taking down Shot Up, and that's the plant. Not going down. No more time. One last attacker laying around the back lines, but he escapes in time. The defenders are going to win the round. ASMR by the skin of their teeth. Again, it was purely that timing. Purely the time wasted from Morning Light off the very beginning that led to that ASMR hold.
That's exactly what I'm thinking as well. I feel that they're going a bit too slow for their own good. I understand exactly what they're doing. And for the most part, that recipe of trying to burn out as much utility as you possibly can, it's a good idea. You know, ASMR, they seem perfectly content to use their wall to block off Hookah just for a little while. But Morning Light, even after destructing it, even after getting a little bit more utility, they kind of drag their feet when it comes to actually, you know, trying to get the spike down. And ASMR, that's exactly why I was thinking, I don't think they have to budge their setup all too much. Morning Light seem not, they don't seem to be able to adjust to this, at least yet. But there's still time. I mean, there's still 4 more rounds left to play with, and Morning Light already seen that they want to switch things up here. Bomb firmly in towards bathrooms right now, where 3 players will make themselves known, but still, this isn't exactly a very great round for Morning Light. They only have pistols, so really, best case scenario, they can pull off a miracle, but most likely scenario, a spike plant. That's about it. There's the smokes coming through, but Upmind, what do we do from here?
Well, most likely just to take here from Morning Light because they've just been getting shut down, take after take, and turn up again. Proving that theory. 3 straight kills for him playing Ring Around the Rosie with the box, but in comes the retake from the rest of ASMR. Again, good return frags, and oh, Odorous. That's a second on the round, almost gets a kill off of that extremely tight angle. Again, this reposition in the back is going to leave Odorous in an extremely awkward angle. I don't think that plant even made noise. It does. Oh no, Joseph. Oh, he's ready for the orbital strike, but it's a little bit late. That's gonna drag Odorous out of his spot, and he still got that frag onto Weak. But again, Joseph, the player who pulled out the orbital strike in the first place, still ends up holding it down for ASMR. That's a 7th round for the team.
Definitely a bit of hesitation seen towards the latter part of that. You see Joseph. You know, I'm not sure which. I'm just gonna go with Joseph.
Joe?
That sounds like the more appropriate. Yeah, Joe. I know you love that name a lot.
Who's Joe?
Mine,
That's
but
all I'm saying.
yeah, my boy Joseph. There was definitely some hesitation in actually using the orbital strike. You saw he canceled it once, but even on that commit behind it, he like saw the op and then he was like, "Whoa, I can't believe my luck. Really, I'm gonna be able to get this kill for free?" And, you know, simple enough of a trade out, Odorous. If he got away with that play, I would have been absolutely bamboozled, absolutely thunderstruck. But let's go ahead and shift our focus to the current round here. Morning Light with 5 ultimates to work with.
I know exactly.
Definitely going to be an interesting dynamic to play. And, well, speaking of ultimates, one's actually going to be used, expended over towards bathrooms, and it's only going to lead to the demise of the user. Turnip going down, and the refrag is through. Morning Light on the back foot once more. But there's an ultimate. There's that res that Odorous can use. And if you were to res a player over towards bathrooms, we're back onto even footing.
Most likely he's going to be able to find it.
Your
Oh, yeah, he
is
is.
over.
Yep, shot up
There you
too.
go,
He could
equalized.
run it back.
Oh yeah, he can. He has the ulti ready. He could clear out this site all by himself, and that will be incredibly pivotal.
Thinking about
There's 2 laying around here, and pretty good crossfire. And yes, he will. Out he comes. In comes the recon dart right after. This is a great setup. Magalov still takes down Weak. There's still a player over to U-Haul that hasn't been cleared yet. Shot up hasn't spotted him, and still Fox is gonna get the kill anyways. Shot up by the skin of his teeth. Barely doesn't get that kill. Fox with the Raze ult, still getting the kill anyways as he backs out into the smoke. The fade away from Fox. Again, Spike still down. Shot up with a huge frag. Diffuse from Fox. Shot up barely has any HP. Is the diffuse still going? I think he's still holding it down.
No, he isn't.
No, he's not.
He's halfway.
No, he got off.
Halfway.
Shut up. Still around. Still playing around the wall. He has no clue. Shut up. Using up that wall. Fox again paranoid that he would peek out over. Again, he even had me distracted there for a second. He could have stuck onto that diffuse all he wanted, but even then, still huge play from Morning Light there. Just the switch up in terms of tempo and the utility usage actually used in that take. It was wonderful. You had the recon dart immediately after, just perfectly, I guess you could say, synchronized with the ultimate usage. There you go. That was just the culmination of what Morning Light had been waiting for. Shorty, by the way, on Weak.
Shoddy, excuse me. Yeah. Well, remember what I was talking about with that double hookah setup? That's something that you sometimes see on pistol as well as ecos. So, you know, I'm finally glad to see that I'm proven right, at least in one respect. But, I mean, I'll be honest here. ASMR, they're probably not going to win this one, but again, I just want to talk about how wonderful that was. That res coming through. I mean, Shot Up single-handedly won that round previously. I want to see if he can do it again. This time the task is going to be much easier. Again, the only thing he'll have to worry about is perhaps some cheeky flanks from players like Turnip. Great flash through, but Spot Up didn't even check the angle. Oh my god, how have they managed to dodge each other? I think... Yeah, okay. I think he spotted his gun barrel or something of the sort. The A bomb site is free for the taking. Morning Light. Can't believe the luck that they've stumbled across. They've managed to avoid the stack that ASMR had handy over towards B. And they'll gladly take this freebie to go ahead and add another one to the tally. Now 4, almost surely at this point. Unless we see a miracle happen with a couple of pistols. Miniature even spotting someone with a camera. It's as good as over at this point, it feels like. Just don't do it to him. Okay. Good. Thank you, Conti.
Don't do it to him. Don't do it to him. He still has the operator still trying to get a kill over into the back, and he actually does. 1v5, Harmful just looking for exits. Still waiting out again.
The crosshair was a bit too high for the Bucky, I'll be honest.
Right.
Now they're not even going to bother with him.
Yeah, no, out of all of the, I guess the mending that people do in terms of crosshairs, this is probably the one crosshair that you can't do much about. And there you go. He even tries to get a shot out, but that simply doesn't work out. Conti's going to go down to the spike, actually, over towards site. Yeah. That's...
He's got an exit frag.
Yeah. Sure did. And now Morning Light. Hopefully they aren't too disheartened over that one exit frag in a sense, as we do have another round, the last round of the half actually coming right up.
Yeah, so you can already tell that this one's going to be pretty crazy. What I think we can look off, I can imagine Morning Light doing another default here, but look for that Hunter's Fury to actually break that neutral and probably take hookah control off of it. Judging by where the Silva is at the moment, I think that could be kind of the straw that'll break the camel's back in some sort of way for ASMR. I think Morning Light, I mean, they have a really, really good opportunity to take 5 rounds. And sometimes all they have to do is just press the X button.
I gotcha, and I mean, talking about buttons, it seems like, at least for now, the favorite button for this ASMR team is currently the button S. Because, again, they just allow all of these takes. All I'm saying, man, I would say that it would be the W button, but that's simply not the case. ASMR, again, they're not exactly too, I guess you could say, poignant in terms of these actual takes. They want to hold down these sites, and here we go again. Great equipment usage from Morning Light, covering up the entire site with the Brimstone smokes. And, oh, okay, Shot Up, throwing out the flash, looking around for one, but doesn't check Cubby. Just looks over to U-Haul, trying to get the kill. Still doesn't work out. Makalov over towards the back lanes, over towards short. Covered up by the smoke. You still have Odorous trying to pop off of that operator once again. Gets himself a frag, and oh, Fox! Over to U-Haul, uses up that satchel, still able to get the kill onto Odorous. Now it's a 2-on-3. Makalov waiting around the corner. Joseph with it, and Turnip on the other side. Gets the kill anyways, and now ASMR... They're back to their winning ways, and they put a little bit of an ending here to the half. 8-4. As now Morning Light, they find themselves in an inopportune spot, to say the very least, going into the second half. And I don't really know what to say about this team. You still have them on the defensive side of Bind, but Bind has been proving more and more to be a more even map. And especially for this, I guess, aggressive style of Morning Light, it might be a little bit more difficult for them to make these side holds a little bit linear.
Look, you're talking about how Morning Light's favorite letter presumably is S, because they've been pressing that, but I think I found ASMR's favorite letter. It's got to be W, because they are just getting a huge dub. 8-4 is such a dominant first half, and now they'll be moving on to the attacker's side. They're looking good to do it as well if this aggressive play that they're showing off towards the latter part of their defense side is anything to go by. Now, it wasn't the kind of aggressive style that we saw teams like Way Too French do, where they're constantly taking fights, but you're still seeing it's coming out. This time, Morning Light are the ones who are aggressing. Look on the minimap right now, you'd see 3 players have situated themselves out towards B long and have moved all the way back. That means full rotations can come through, and they probably found out at this point that either they're all going hookah, or it's probably going to be an A push here, and I think the latter of choices will be obviously the correct decision here. Weak is choosing maybe to boost over the wall, but I think he's going to go ahead and save that wall to actually go ahead and take out the player. What was that? Hello? The shotgun's down Conti. That's so dumb, man. I can't believe it.
Just the alley-oop.
Oh,
a little bit of a scoop.
They're doubling back.
No,
Oh,
absolutely.
God,
They're going all the way back over to B. They still have a player over to A who hasn't made a single point of sound. Usually when you're lurking in a position like that, you just want to distract the enemy team, but here comes the actual take. 3 players over towards the back. Fox trying to take down Shut Up, but that doesn't work out by any means. Now it's a 2-on-3. Harmful in the back trying to make that flank, but Makalov is there. Joseph, huge frag.
Oh, the bomb's
Spike.
in his sights too.
Right? Oh no, but every player on the server down in terms of HP, and that's a huge headshot from Makalov. Big retake from Makalov. 3 form as Morning Light makes their way back. That's 8-5.
Morning Light, they're not out of this one just yet. They're down, but most certainly not out. That was incredibly concerning. Joseph, I feel like, had one of the best possible positions there. Harmful, unfortunately, he was just completely caught out of position. You know, maybe he was expecting to catch a rotator off, maybe rotating through like mid or something where he was, but no, the timing was not in his favor. He had to sprint his way out over towards B, but he made a ton of noise while doing it, led to his demise. I mean, in theory, that could have been a monumental round by both Harmful as well as Joseph, but it ends up just being kind of one of those situations where you're like, what if, you know? Doesn't matter all too much. So Morning Light, they get a much needed 5th round, and we'll be able to buy up Spectres and all the goodies to try to take down these naughty ecoed players. And Odorous might have a good time while doing it too.
Just might, but again, he's held off, and there's a wall right in front of him, so not exactly having the best time in the world. He does put up a wall, but he actually backs out of it, so that's going to be an easy take for ASMR. Spike's down, still a player over into Hookah, blasting over a couple of bullets. Again, it's chaos on site. Everyone alive for ASMR, but their crossfires are all over the place. There's one player just trying to make his way over into short, but again, Shut Up is there for the frag. Same thing with Orderous, same thing with Conti. One more player remaining, and it's going to be Harmful. He's on the flank, and everyone realizes it right as he even makes it. Conti with a 3rd frag on the round. Morning Light, a 6th. A great start to the half.
Well, I'm glad that they have another flawless round to go ahead and call theirs. I feel like when you're down 8-4, and especially after you're just coming off of a win as well in your last match, every round matters. You know, that mental game is something that I feel like is talked about pretty often in games like CS in particular, but I feel like it actually come into play for even teams like Morning Light, who maybe don't exactly have the same level of prowess. But still, some of these players, you know, they've been down this road before. These are a lot of, like, really experienced players in other games, and they know how much that mental game can mean to them. And I'm sure winning clean rounds like that mean the world to them. But also being able to get a clean kill like that means the world to them equally as much. Shot Up with the stinger of all guns, somehow manages to beat out, I believe it was a Vandal. And surprisingly, it doesn't manage to work out for Morning or for ASMR whatsoever. 8-6, but it is looking a lot like 8-7 Upmind.
And again, you mentioned experience. We know these Morning Light players, most of them at least, all too well. Experience in Counter-Strike is plentiful for a lot of these players. So, I mean, leading into Valorant, where there could potentially be more monetary success for these teams, they're trying to take full advantage. But that was just chaos there. Odor is still getting the kill from above the wall, and nobody with the trade. Still there with a plan. That's Turnip. Odorous with yet another one. Where is Odorous even getting these kills? No one's looking over towards that area. Joseph still holding down Makalov. Still one more on site. Turnip going off. Oh, man. A 3rd kill for Turnip. A 4th. Alone. Turnip in a 1-on-4. holds it down for ASMR. Morning Light, they had that round in the palm of their hands.
Snatched away from them. I mean, literally everything that Morning Light could have done went their way to start that one off. You know, they got those early kills, and it just wasn't good enough. I'll be honest. I can try to analyze that one all I want, but again, I always fall back to that same mantra. Turnip just knows how to click on heads. He's been doing miracle work for his team so far, the highest in the server at 16 kills. And Christ, Upmind, you said it best. It's stolen out of the palm of their hands. Morning Light, I'm not going to say they needed that one. They were just kind of, you know, using a bit of the leftovers from round number 2, but Christ, they were looking so good. It just kind of feels like theft that it got stolen away from them.
Well, my friend, I guess we're just going to have to deal with what Morning Light can even react with. Because, I mean, here we go again. Odorist has been proven to be the MVP of this game thus far. A myriad of kills. But even then, can't hold it down for his team. I mean, he's solo. There goes the actual kill. Miniature, however, taken back harmful. And look at this spread out from ASMR. One on site, one deep over to long, one deep over to elbow. Weak, though. Does get himself the frag, but he has to run away from the orbital strike, and he runs in to a couple of barrels in his face. Well, there you go, Morning Light. There's the answer, but again, just that last round, they could have been in such a much better position in a sense. They could have been tied up by now.
Yeah, it definitely hurts. I mean, Turnip, he won that round. He didn't have to use any ults while doing it as well. 2, meanwhile, had to be expended for Morning Light. That run it back, which has been monumental almost every single time Shot Up has used it. Now, well, I mean, look, sure, Morning Light get the round off, but I can't exactly be excited just yet. This gap still exists. Morning Light have yet to exactly cut through it. This is another chance for them to start cutting through it a little bit more. It's pistols for ASMR. But there's also 3 ultimates in the works, and wow, that's a cute dart. Holy, I love that. I mean, really, it's gonna be pistols versus rifles.
No, yeah, no,
that's conga line formation, etc.
Yeah, hard eco from ASMR this round. And Morning Light most likely gonna be able to take advantage. Let's see what actually happens. Good molly up from Shot Up.
He's using everything.
Gonna halt at least a little bit of the take. A deep smoke, and now this is going to lead for a little bit of they might as well. They're making all this noise. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You're absolutely right, etoh. Here we go. They're on the speedway over towards A. Turn up on the front lines. He does end up getting taken down by Odorist. Odorist trying to cover up bathroom, and he does. Still a lot of time to work with for ASMR. 40 seconds left. Right, and look at this player over to long too. Shot Up can get all of this info. There's still one more player watching over to Hookah. If I'm not mistaken, Shot Up might have seen that player rotating over towards site. But again, Miniature trying to hold this one down all by himself. But in comes Shot Up at the perfect time. Third frag for him, and Miniature finally gets himself one. Morning Light 8-9, slowly making their way back, but now they have yet another mountain to climb. It's going to be a full buy from ASMR.
Morning Light were so well positioned for that. You saw that even as ASMR had 4 players conga lining up towards long, and they're making their presence known, they were being so loud. You saw that still Morning Light, they kept 2 players there. That's something that we've seen a couple of times from a variety of teams just today, is that you often see a lot of long control being made early on, meanwhile just completely neglecting Hookah, while you have a lurker over towards A, and then they just take Telly, and when we saw it previously, there was a huge success rate for that fake, but Morning Light, they were definitely ready for it. Had 2 players that completely shut down all the push potential, and ASMR, all they could do is just try to double back and bring it back over towards B, but I mean, again, it's just like, you give up so much control while doing that sort of thing that you're going to have to hit all your shots, and when you have pistols, not going to happen. But Execute begins into the next round here at Upmind, and the pace will be quickening once more.
ASMR almost literally in the same setup as they had in the last one, but instead this time they have the firepower to actually work with. One player over towards the corner. Shot up, just tries to boot out a couple of bullets out throughout that wall. Oh, baby. Fox was trying to go for one of his high intensity plays through a smoke, but he ends up getting caught off for it. He's been a smoke criminal this entire time, but he can't sneak around for his team, as now these last two players incredibly low on HP, and Morning Light, they make it look absolutely easy. 4 players surviving at the very end. ASMR, they get choked out towards B once again. Again, they've tried to go B for really the past 3 rounds. It hasn't worked out in their favor by any means. Morning Light, they have a good formula for that site. ASMR, they need to readjust.
That was just a chef's kiss of a hold. Morning Light, you know, they're looking definitely very clean on this defense. Shot up. I have to say the patience by him as well. A couple of times you've seen him holding close around that corner. Luckily, ASMR haven't exactly walked into his crosshairs because he might get overwhelmed if he was in that position while 5 players were aiming at him. But I don't know, it's spot up. Nothing's past his level, I suppose. And hey, look, speaking of which, Shot Up is going to appear in the kill feed. I get Shot Up and Spot Up confused, but I don't know how I could ever confuse the team, or the two, excuse me. One is a wonderful team, and one is a wonderful player. Well, he has another ultimate built up as well, and what I'm just trying to say is ASMR, they have the right idea, but the execution is not there, and the kills most certainly aren't as well.
No, certainly not. And I think at this point, again, in this round at least, I'm not going to make an example out of it purely because of the actual cash that ASMR even had to work with off the very beginning. But let's see what actually happens in this next one, because, ladies and gentlemen, you guys saw the text on your screen. That was almost literally flawless. And not even a single bullet hitting too many of the Morning Light players. But again, not to make an example or anything of the sort, but at this point, ASMR, their tempo has been a little bit too high for their own liking. I would like to see a little bit of a default to see what kind of, for my own confidence at least, I want to see how they act with just individual 1v1 gun duels, because they've just been missing out on all of them thus far this half.
That's exactly what I'm thinking as well. It's just, I want to see something slower. ASMR, I mean, look, they can hit their shots. We saw them doing it in their previous games and earlier on in this game. But Morning Light, Christ, time and again have had their number. Shot Up is another one of those instances. Despite making a huge teleport noise, why was no one looking at him? I have no clue, but it's going to be easily punished. Morning Light, sure, they're actually in the forefront once more, but there's actually a bit of a response from ASMR that's not half bad. If they find a next kill here, this is actually looking very good for ASMR. Indeed, it does come through. We're into a 3 versus 2. That Raze staying alive by a thread of HP. Odorous will take one back forcefully, however. And we're back to square one. ASMR on the back foot once more, with that Raze again being on life support, quite frankly. Well, Morning Light are looking good. They have so much utility to work with as well. Spot Up could probably, or gosh, Shot Up, excuse me, could win this just all by his lonesome if he even needs to. He actually might have to do that job. In particular, you see Odorous has gone down. His comrade in arms has fallen, but Harmful, despite it all, has come alive. One of the quieter players in the server, someone we haven't been shouting out nearly as much, has found that double-digit amount of kills as he gets a triple in the round.
Again, huge for his team, and just kind of looking at that hold from Morning Light, they had the opportune places, but finally ASMR making me shut up a little bit. I told, you know, you guys that maybe a little bit of a tempo change in terms of 1v1s would help this team out. I mean, it's kind of a four-head concept. You get picks, you can make your way onto a site, and that's exactly what happened in that round. Morning Light just showed a couple more pixels than needed, and also ASMR forcing out these players out of their positions with very good equipment usage. But Joseph, he's trying to shoulder peek, really trying to jiggle peek really in a game that doesn't really reward it all too much, and especially if we're talking about really the most prolific operator player thus far today in Odors.
Yeah, I gotta appreciate it though. You know, Joseph was just trying to harken back to the old CS days, but it's just so hard to make those shoulder peaks work. I mean, what was his game plan if he even baited out a shot right there too? I mean, it still seems like they have the right idea of bringing out over towards A, and they just had to use res for no reason. Now an execute begins over towards A, but ASMR, they're only 4 people strong now.
They know that U-Haul is going to be relatively empty for now, but they have a low window of opportunity. They are distracted by the recon, and instead Shot Up is going to be there immediately over towards U-Haul, compensating for that angle, but he goes a little bit too far in terms of that flash. He tried to bend it around the corner, but again, not connecting for him. Hunter's Fury on sight. He ends up getting the spike planter anyways. Makalov in the back being the hero for the team, as now it's only one player left, and Odorous gets the kill onto Harmful. 11th round for Morning Light. Right.
Layers.
The lights of change are actually happening here for Morning Light. They could see the light. They could see the W. And this next round is going to be a little bit easier for them too. $2,000 to $3,000 for a couple of these players on Morning Light. They're not going to be able to full buy any means. ASMR up against the ropes here, etoh.
Oh man, Morning Light. The dawn has come, baby, for real. They're looking so clean now on their defense. Sure, they've had a couple of hiccups, 2 rounds going the way of ASMR, but far and away, this has been the show of Morning Light. Despite that 8-4 half, they look well trained. That triple peak that they had towards the end of that round. You know what, never mind, we'll talk about that later. Already an exec is beginning Upmind? Excuse me?
It's almost insane because now ASMR, this is Valorant beta plays that we've been seeing again and again. Just like, hey guys, did you know that you could sage wall the corner on A bind? I know, isn't crazy? And it just works. Everyone just holds down W, they put up the sage wall, and they make the most of it. They do end up getting the spike plant, but the post plant is gonna be the hardest part. All right, big trades coming in back and forth. You still have Shot Up around the corner. Again, the anti-sage wall, but he doesn't care. Oh! Shot Up with a huge individual play. Oh man,
God, I love Shot Up.
Morning Light. Pure chaos in just a matter of 30 to 40 seconds. The round's already wrapped up, but I feel like we just went through a marathon, etoh.
I'm definitely breathing heavy like it was just a marathon right there. Upmind. Christ. I mean, Morning Light, I'm not going to lie. I think they showed off exactly why that strat of saving or of using the sage wall to block off that APC angle is no longer like the meta thing to do. They saved their wall for the latter part for that post plant. It bought them so much space. Shot Up was using it as like this, I don't know, like a playground. He was just on top of that thing, just riding it for days and being able to find 2 kills from it. I mean, I'm surprised ASMR didn't do the same. They're a team that I generally think of as adaptable, seeing how they played a bit earlier on against Way Too French, but now they're looking lost, dazed, confused, and just about done. Conti with a double. That aggression over towards long is something you see oh so often, but it is one of those things that keeps on delivering every single time. Shot Up, finds the kill, and it's all but done at this point. Fox, yeah, through the fire and the flames, he can try to carry on, but to no avail. Turn Up, he'll get 1 kill as well, but it's just about over. Upmind, man. I don't see anything happening.
Who knows? They still have Turn Up around the corner. Conti does end up getting covered up by that cage. Again, Shot Up. Oh no, he has the ulti, and here comes the sandwich. Oh baby, it's too good for Shot Up. The ultimate works in its favor. And that's it, my friend. Morning Light. They persevere, and they make their way through ASMR. ASMR's upset streak is over for now in the winner's bracket. We'll be seeing them in losers as it gets a little bit more